Hi friend. In today's pick a card, I want to take an honest look at a connection on your mind. So for this pick a card reading, you should have a specific connection in mind. It does not have to be romantic. It can be platonic or business. I will try to cover all angles. For today's pick a card reading, pick a pile, pick a group, whichever you want to call it, I have laid out the tarot decks, but I'm not going to be showing you the faces. You will see once you pick your reading, or if you recognize the decks, you will know. But what I will show you is the coins. I have picked out silver coins to go with this reading, and the thought process behind this was that there's always two sides to every story, right? So don't necessarily feel distracted by the different sizes, but let me show you a close-up of the coins so you can get an idea. So this one has the eagle landing on the moon, because that clearly happened in history. I thought maybe showing you the years on the coins would be interesting. So this is 1972. And that is a $1 silver coin for group 1. For group 2, we have a $50. Yeah, that used to be a thing. And here we have the eagle, and we have a Lady Liberty on the back side, and this is from 1943. And then for group 3, we have a silver quarter. And this one is from 1964. Always check if your quarters that you have laying around are real silver, because there are still some out there. And then for group 4, we have another $50. Fancy. And this one is from 1969. So these are the 4 groups. Take a moment to see which group is calling you the most, and then I will meet you at your reading. The timestamps are in the description below. Again, we are taking an honest look at a connection that is on your mind. So I will meet you at your reading. I'll give you a moment right now to focus on which group is calling you. Hi group 1, this is your reading. If you chose the $1 silver coin from 1972, we're going to set this up here and we're going to jump right into it. Because I have 4 groups, I want to keep these kind of tight today, but I'm not really good at that. I always trail off. If you're here for the first time, welcome. If you're returning, I think you know. Okay, so here's the plan. And yes, if you've been here before, usually you know that for group 1 is where we establish the plan. But I did think this through this time. I have a very specific spread in mind. We're going to start off with tarot, then we're going to get some archetype cards, and then we're going to close it out with some oracle cards. So let's jump in. So the way this tarot spread works, honestly, I don't know if it's a legitimate spread. I just started doing this at some point, and it always works for me. Whenever I'm looking into figuring out a connection. So your energy will start off on this side, the other person's energy will come in on this side, and then we see how the energies merge together through a triangle. You'll see. So let's start off with your energy. For group 1, we want an honest look at this connection. Okay, right away, I get the sense that you are very disappointed that something didn't work out. You're very taking it quite rough, that something is not shaping up to be the way you would like it to be. But I do see still some hope here on your end to make things right. Yeah. Something was a sharp disappointment is what I'm hearing. But there is a desire to make things right. And therefore, I think you are even willing to overcome some of your... I'm hearing bitterness, but it's not bitterness in a negative way. It's just, you know, when someone hurts you, you know, it takes some time to overcome that. All right, and now we're trailing off into their energy. This is where we meet in the middle with this Justice card, which I like. Was that? That was hesitant. Do we want that? Nope, I saw what it was though, and that gives me concern because it shows me that they're not quite sure what they're in for. Yeah, okay. So what I saw was the Eight of Cups. And it was hesitant. It didn't come out. And what did come out is the Two of Cups, which is a very, very big difference between the two, right? So I think this other person really took a hard look at what they wanted and then made a decision. And I think they thought they wanted something else, but then they made a decision. I think they're choosing this. And I think now the challenge here is to overcome whatever happened in the past. But you're willing to, you know what's really interesting? I do feel that this person has something to make up to you. And please use discernment in this, right? We're not here for wishful thinking or feeding delusions. I am really taking an honest look at this, okay? And what I do see is that this person does want to make things right and that they do want to devote themselves to making things right. And on your end, I think there is a sense of almost like excitement because you know that you deserve for them to make it right. So there was some kind of imbalance. Just realized I'm gonna need to move this up to make it fit, but let's keep going. We have the Nine of Cups. Nine of Coins, sorry. And the Nine of Swords, yeah, look at that balance. That balance between Nine of Coins and Nine of Swords is because you're like, okay, I know there's a lot here to salvage, but also there's a lot here that really needs to be addressed, that really hurt me, that really needs to come to the surface. And they want to. I feel like this person is really willing. However, willing is not always the same as doing. Right? They might struggle with fully showing up, but let me keep going before I... Five of Cups. Yeah, I think they kind of recognized what it would mean to lose this connection and that they are not willing to risk that. Interesting. I will take them both. We have the Hermit. And we have the Six of Swords. Oh my goodness, I keep mixing up my suits. Temperance. Ah, this is interesting. This is interesting because both of you want to move on, but they want to move on from the situation that caused pain and move towards coming together. You, I feel like, want to move on in a way where I don't know that you're very much emotionally invested in them anymore. This is really interesting because we have the Five of Cups. She is turned away. We have the Six of Swords. Is it the Six of Swords? No, the Six of Wands, sorry. She is turned away. This Nine of Coins is very much focused on you. I think when you were in this period of pain, you had to kind of protect yourself. You had to put up a wall to be like, no, 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 you need to overcome this barrier before you even step to me. And they at first were like, maybe it's not worth it. But then they realized what it would mean to be without this connection completely. So then they decided, no, it is worth it. So they're stepping to the wall and they're ready to like bring balance to the situation. And I think you realized perhaps how much freedom you have without the connection, or not necessarily freedom, but that you're actually capable of managing without the connection. And they got a glimpse of what it would mean to be without this connection, and they're like, I don't think I can manage. And you're on the other hand like, I think I can manage. Oh, that was a plot twist. We have the Ten of Cups. Oh my goodness. And we have the Devil. Look at this. This is incredible. Let me get the last card out and then I'll explain. Oh my goodness. No way. It's the Judgment card. You are kidding me. And look, the Eight of Cups is at the bottom of the deck. This is so juicy. I'm sorry, I'm not laughing at you. If honestly, if anything, I'm pretty sure I'm laughing with you, because this is juicy. And I don't think either one of us saw this coming. I don't think you realized when you were in this period of pain over this connection, I don't think you realized how quickly you would actually heal from this and be like, you know what? I think I can do without. Like, it may have kind of scratched your ego a little bit. But the fact that this runs down to the Ten of Cups on your end after you realize, wait a minute, I don't know if I can get my Ten of Cups here. And then on their end, it runs down to the Devil, because then they feel like this really, really intense attachment towards you, I think. Let me try and move this up. I think this is like the ultimate story of turning the tables. Look how the tables have turned. And then it all boils down to the Judgment card. Are you kidding me? That is like the ultimate. And I don't think you're in this. I don't think you're emotionally invested in this. And again, this doesn't have to be romantic. This can definitely be like a work situation. This could be a platonic friendship. There's something where you got hurt within this connection, and that hurt has shown you, this is actually not living up to my standards. And so therefore, I think you're choosing to listen to your higher self and be like, I need to do what makes me happy. And at some point I thought that was this connection, but I'm realizing it's not, because what happened in this connection, it was probably more so that you made the both of you happy, and not that the connection made you happy. And once you took that away, they realized, oh wait, this person was doing a lot to make us happy, and now I have to do that myself. So they're like having this turnaround moment. But the fact that we have the Devil here, this is an unhealthy attachment. So I think it's really important that we keep in mind that if they turn around and are like, you know what, I want to make this right because I don't want to lose this connection, they might end up resorting to really kind of like unhealthy tactics, meaning like, you know, just like not respecting your boundaries, and really kind of getting a little bit desperate, especially because they have this Five of Coins energy here too. In the middle of the spread, when your energies are coming together, we have the Six of Swords though, which does indicate that we're moving on, and that we're moving on to calmer waters. And I think for you moving on, like both of you want that, and I think for you moving on to calmer waters is going on your own path towards your happiness, and for them moving on to calmer waters is like, can we go back to what we were? And you're like, I'm changed, I cannot go back to what we were. Ooh. And this Judgment card is indicating that there will be a moment of decision, a moment of choice. Let's get some dice. We have the second house, we have the North Node, and we have Capricorn. This is all about you coming to terms with this connection, not living up to your values. Not living up, you're like, is this worth it? You're really like considering the input, the output. Like, I feel like you're at a point where you've gone through the emotional gauntlet, and now you're just like, is it worth it to me? Because I can tell it's worth it to them because I'm giving them so much. But am I actually receiving? Even if they turn around and say, hey, I'm going to be devoted to this, they just want things to go back to what it was. You want more. You want more, you deserve more, and you're recognizing that. So it's like, once I recognize I deserve more, I can't go back to less. Oh, I like this for you. I know it's not easy to do, and I know it's really difficult to stand up for your worth and your values. But this is really exciting because I do see you doing this in a way where you're moving on from the heartache of it, and really just kind of like becoming more detached. And as you become more detached, they become more attached, but for the wrong reasons probably, because they're really fearful of ending up without this connection completely. I have to take a sip of water. Okay, I'm going to pull some archetype cards. So we're going to pull one for you and one for this person. I haven't done this spread in so long. I love it. I hope that you're seeing what I'm seeing, because that's essentially like, you know, a triangle. It's two energies coming together, and then the effect that has. Sorry, that's just me nerding out. Okay, so for group one, let's get an archetype card for group one. Oh yeah, this one. What is it? Avenger. This is what I'm picking up with this Six of Wands, and that's why I'm like, ooh, that's why I'm kind of excited, because I feel like you're getting your vengeance, you're getting your justice, and they think giving you justice would be admitting to something or being like, you know what, let's do this again, and then we all win. And for you, winning is like, no, I'm like, ugh. Light attributes: desire to balance the scales of justice, righteousness on behalf of society or oneself. The Justice card up here, trickling down all the way down to Judgment, Chef's kiss. I mean, you're just focused on your self-worth, and you're like, this is not it. This is not giving. I really love this because it shows how much work you've put in. And now for them. Oh my God, I know I should not be laughing, but the emotions, I know, oh my God, I'm like, that was exhilarating to the point that I have like tears in my eyes. And I know that's the kind of emotions that you are looking forward to feeling when you get that chance to make that judgment and be like, no. They're good at the sirens. They're gonna have to call an ambulance for this person. We have beggar because they fear to like end up with nothing out of this connection. They're like, wait, you used to give me everything and now you're not giving me anything. Dependence on others to exclusion of effort, to the exclusion of effort. Dependence on others to the exclusion of effort. They used to not put in an effort and now they're like, wait, I'm willing to put in the minimum effort. And you're like, I'm worth more than the minimum. Oh, this energy is really like, oh, do you know that meme, the paparazzi? Oh my God, I'm just feeling that energy. It feels really nice, honestly. The paparazzi pictures of Nicole Kidman when she finalized her divorce from Tom Cruise. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you need to Google that, because that is this feeling. Nicole Kidman finalizing her divorce from Tom Cruise, paparazzi pictures. Because she walks out of that office and she's just so like free and just so excited. And that's what I'm feeling for you. This is, wow. Okay. I honestly don't even want to bog this message up with too many oracle cards, so we're just gonna do one from the Moon Oracle and then one from the Begin Oracle. We have beginnings. You're on to better things. You're just like, I'm not looking back. And this person can sense that, and that's why they're gripping and they want to. And again, this doesn't have to be romantic. This can be work-wise, right? You deciding like you're not sticking around with this employer anymore because you know you can do better, and them realizing like, oh shit, this person used to do like a lot, and we cannot lose them. Seasons. This card also wants out and be here now. Okay, seasons don't work backwards. I want to point out that we have a 2 here and a 2 here, and we have the second house. Seasons don't run backwards, you know? You're not going to experience winter after spring, right? So just in that same way, you have grown in a way where you're not going to revert backwards. And they are also I'm not trying to like dismiss this person. They're also growing. For them having this realization is also growth, but you have grown beyond this connection. And so you need to stay in the present and not fall backwards. Yep. I'm gonna get one last oracle card to close this reading out. And this one I like to read from the booklet. So let's see what comes out for group 1. We have House of Flowers. Oh, and I'm immediately hearing the Miley Cyrus song, that I can buy myself flowers. That's the energy. Sorry, it really is like hyping me up. It's a really beautiful energy, and I really hope that if you're not there yet, know that you're getting there. You are absolutely getting there. If you're still in this energy of feeling the loss, trust me, you're gonna get to that point where you feel like really empowered, and it's really exciting. So we have House of Flowers, power of nature, joy of life, diversity, and beauty. Out of this small white house on the top of a hill bursts flowers, full of life and rich in colors. It is like an explosion. The 2 ladies walking by look tiny in comparison. Oh my goodness, I never noticed these ladies. That's wild. I have seen this card, but I've never noticed those ladies. That's okay. Anyways, the 2 ladies walking by look tiny in comparison to the giant falling leaves. They enjoy the enormity of nature, the power of its diversity. But even a single bloom in a vase can transform a space. Each petal a world unto itself and a wonder of creation. This card signals love for life in this moment full of energy, beauty, and joy. I'm telling you, look up those paparazzi pictures if you don't know them. That's exactly that bursting energy. That's what I felt when this beggar card came out, when it was established. Like, this is how the cards are out, and I mean like metaphorical cards also, you know. Once it was established, that energy, it felt like a burst. You couldn't see it, but I literally, like, my whole body moved to the side because I felt such a burst of energy. And that's where you're headed. You're going to feel so good about yourself that you're not going to settle for less, and you're going to move away from the things that aren't good enough for you so that you can pursue your 10 of Cups and reach the things that really, really serve you in the way that you deserve to be served. Oh, that sounded nice. Okay, I'm gonna leave it there. Thank you so much for hanging out. I really hope this resonated. It was a beautiful reading, and I really would love to know how this resonates, so let me know in the comments. And I'm rooting for you. You absolutely deserve this energy, and I'm rooting for you. If you're not there yet, if you're still in this energy of heartache and pain and really kind of focusing on the negative, trust me, you're getting there. You're absolutely getting there. There's no holding you back. Okay, thank you so much, and I hope I get to read for you again sometime. If you would like a personal reading, you can book those on my website, which is linked in the description below. Don't get scammed. I never solicit via DMs, okay? Take care. Hi, group 2, if this is your reading. If this is your reading. If this is your coin. Don't know what happened there, but I'm just gonna roll with it. Okay, this is the $50 from, where'd it go? Oh, 1943. What is up with this energy changed so swiftly? I literally just started and the energy changed very quickly into a state of a little bit of confusion. That first reading was very clear. I was in a good state, and now I feel like I'm a little bit scattered. Very interesting, but let's get into it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull some tarot cards, and we're going to pull an archetype card for each person and close it out with some oracle cards. The way this spread is going to work, it's a triangle, and I start off with your energy here, their energy there, and the triangle shows us how your energies come together, okay? So let's get into it. For group 2, let's start off with their energy. For group 2. Taking an honest look at your connection. We have the 2 of Wands. We have the 7 of Cups. There's that confusion. And along with the 2 of Wands especially, you're just like, where do I feel like somebody's telling you, just look at the map, and you're like holding the map upside down, and you're like, I don't know how to read a map. We have the 9 of Pentacles. Ooh. And now we're heading into their energy. Can we get 1? This was 2 cards. I'm going to shuffle them again, give that a chance to come out again, but that was 2 cards. I'd like 1 at a time, please. We have the Death card. It's still very fitting because the card that wanted to come out but came out with another card was the, oh, and there it is. No, see, this is why I shuffle and let them come out again if they want to. Because if they really want to, they will. Yikes, what's going on here? You feel very confused, and on their end, things feel very final. So I'm confused about your confusion. I think you're still hopeful that this can be managed. What's really confusing is this Nine of Pentacles in the middle. And I think the Nine of Pentacles has to do with an appreciation of the connection. And I think even though for this person, things feel very final, and for you, they feel very up in the air, the mutual energy is that this was a connection of substance, and that it was something that you probably made both of you very, feel very good about one another. And yet we're kind of at a standstill, and yet we're very much looking at the connection from very different perspectives. I keep pulling some more cards. With this Two of Wands, you definitely want to keep growing with this person, and you're just like, I feel like for you, it feels like, oh, the possibilities are endless. And for this person, there's something, I don't know if this Three of Swords has to do with you or if this is from an external source. If they have experienced some sort of loss, for sure. And so I don't know that they're able to fully show up the way that you would like them to show up. But let's keep pulling some cards. We have the Four of Pentacles. Yeah, you really want to hold on to this. And we have the Temperance card. You're like, I can make this work. I can make this work. You're like, I can make this work for the both of us. I can figure this out. Oh, one did turn over. I don't know why these others flew out. We have the King of Wands. Sorry, the Page of Wands. I don't know why I said King. Sorry, I'm just trying to, I think they are being very, they're being very particular with what they express towards you. I think there's a lot that they hold back. And I feel like you're not getting the full picture. But I also think that they're not being, yeah, look at that. They are not, they are still like recovering from something. And I honestly feel like it might not even have anything to do with you. It really kind of depends. You have to know, right? You have to know how this fits into your connection. Again, this doesn't have to be romantic. It can also be platonic. It could be a friendship, family situation. It can also be a work situation. But I definitely feel like this person has some things going on that they're not sharing. And whenever you do come together, I think it's a lot about, it is a very much a physical experience. And it feels like kind of a distraction to them from all the stuff that they have going on. And for you, it's confusing because the physical experience is probably very nice. So again, if this is romantic, then that would be, you know, flirting all the way to sexual relations. If this is platonic, then it is just you guys having fun together, right? But them still not really letting you in, not really telling you what's going on with them. They're really kind of holding back. And I think they're holding back because there's a lot going on their end. But for you, it causes a lot of confusion, and it causes you to kind of like hold on to the smallest things like really tightly. And you're just like, I just really want this to kind of like balance out. If this is a work situation, especially if this is like between you and an employer, then it would still apply the same, because it would be something going on in the background that you're not being informed about. And then, you know, to your face being like, oh yeah, everything's fine, and them really kind of like not sharing a lot of information of what's happening in the background, and you actually definitely picking up on this and being like, do I need to look for another job? Like, what's going on? And just really kind of like, really struggling with that confusion. We have the Queen of Cups. Oh, you want to make this work so bad. You're really hopeful about this. We have the Two of Cups. It's not bad to have the Two of Cups in the middle here. The only thing is that they really have a lot going on. I don't know that they can fully show up. We have the Queen of Pentacles. Okay, see, this is the issue here. That right now we're approaching this coming together, which is the Two of Cups. Two people bringing their cups, hanging out, going on dates. But you're showing up with different motives, and your motive is emotional in nature and their motive is material in nature, which I like that it's still the Queen of Cups, because it still shows that there is consideration, and that there is this, it's not as kind of abrasive as a knight or a king would be. There is still this kind of romantic flair to it, but still the fact that it is, and I like that it's pentacles versus like the wands that we had in the row before that, because it does indicate to me that they see the benefit of this connection. Like they do enjoy it for probably the distraction it offers them, and I think they appreciate it. But appreciating a connection and actually developing feelings for someone is those are two different things. And we have the Six of Cups. You're really, I have to share what I hear. I just heard overreaching, but I was trying to say you're really reaching out to this person. But yeah, you are overreaching, meaning you're overstepping, because I think you can pick up on this and it confuses you, and you're like, when we're together, like things are so nice, but then when we're not together, I get really confused because it seems like you're a million miles away. They might be a million miles away, but it just feels like there's a lot of distance there emotionally. And because of that, I think you overreach, and you're just you really are trying to help this person. You may be aware of some of the things that they deal with, whether that has to do with the loss of a loved one, or just loss in general, like if they're dealing with depression, if they have some kind of mental health issues that you are somewhat aware of. I think you really want to help this person, and I also think that you really want to make things work, but that's also not sustainable, right? You can't be a caretaker for someone unless that's your job. And then we have Courage. Okay, I like this. We have Courage. Let me pull the last card in this. Oh! We have the Chariot. We also have the Three of Cups come out with this Chariot, but I'm going to put that back. And then we have the Magician at the bottom of the deck. Okay, here the World card just peeked out for a second. I'm going to leave the Magician at the bottom of the deck. Okay, here's the thing. I think you have very good intentions. I just want to make sure that you protect yourself, because I think that you are very sweet to this person and you're very giving. I do like a few things here on this side. I think that where they're at mentally doesn't have much to do with you, but it affects this connection a lot. And I do like that we have the Queen of Pentacles. I think it kind of starts out as a distraction, but then they really see how caring and nurturing and giving you are. But I want to be really careful because I don't want to say that because you're so giving, then that turns them around or that like solidifies the connection. I don't want to say that because I don't want you to overgive, because that shouldn't be necessary, right? You don't have to save anyone. You don't have to sacrifice your own well-being just to solidify a connection, okay? I just want you to be very aware of that. However, they do recognize this within you, that you are very sweet and that you are very giving and very caring, and that you really want to be able to give to them. And so I do see them with this courage card. I do see them kind of battling it out within themselves, this mental health issue or this pain, this grief that they're working through. I do see that they recognize like, hey, this person is really really kind and giving, and they deserve for me to try because they appreciate you, right? What that leads to is still going to come down to free will on your end, on their end, and it's going to be different for each and every one of you. However, we have the Chariot here as the outcome, and I like that because it does indicate that you will be moving forward towards, especially because this is leading to this, right? Your combined energy is leading towards this. So to me, this is telling me that you will be headed towards making a decision, a move together, right? That doesn't necessarily mean you're moving in together, but you might be deciding to really actively solidify this. But again, you're very forgiving, and I don't even mean forgiving as in it might not be there might not be any open conflict in this situation, but you may be forgiving in ways where they're not always as responsive as you would like them to be, or they don't always show up the way you would like them to, and you're very forgiving of that. You give them a lot of leeway. And so I just want you to be aware of that, because that can easily, even if you solidify this in a connection, in a union, that can easily over time lead to resentment. So that's just something that you need to be aware of. But the fact that we have the Magician here at the bottom of the deck, I feel that you are in a state of confusion, but really wanting to make something come out of this, and I feel like they are in a state of a lot of grief and pain, and once they kind of like lean in, they really want to, I think you're headed towards the same want, but you're coming at it from an emotional angle a lot sooner than they are. For them, it's really just kind of like their emotions are really tied up in a lot of like hurt from the past, and you're just like emotionally more available. And I want to be so careful with this because I don't want anyone to get attached to someone who's emotionally unavailable. But if this applies in the best case scenario, what I do see is that they are pushing through that unavailability to try and get to a point where both of you can kind of show up on the same page. All right, let's get some dice. We have the 10th house, which is the house of career, but it's also the highest house in our chart. So it is how and where you shine. And then we have Taurus and we have Venus. I love this. Venus rules Taurus. Okay, I really like this. I do like this because I feel like you possibly bring out the good in this person. But again, it's just such a very, very thin line to walk when you bring out the best in someone, because then it feels like it's always dependent on you, right? And you should bring out the best in each other, and hopefully they can get to a point where that happens as well, where it's not all that it's not all dependent on you. But this Taurus energy is a lot of this Pentacles energy. It is the material, and then you come in with a lot of like this this emotional energy. And Venus is the planet of love and affection and art and creativity. And so Venus and Taurus is about, this Nine of Pentacles is very much Venus and Taurus, because it is about experiencing love in a material form. Experience, like, that is like good food, going on dates, like it's having really like loving experiences on a material plane. And so I think that kind of gets them out of this grief that they're experiencing. And for you, you just show up ready a lot sooner than they do, I think. But I do see that there is a combination here of bringing out this really romantic experience. And again, if it's not romantic, Taurus and Venus both also represent love. Apparently it is romantic, okay? If it is not, if you're inquiring about a platonic connection, you know, a friendship connection, it still holds the same, because love is the same whether it's platonic or romantic. It's just without the sexual aspect. But if we're talking about a work connection, a work situation, employment situation, Taurus and Venus also both rule money and the material experience. So just plug that in as necessary. Okay, and that's actually, as I say that might actually be one way that this person kind of shows up, that they really kind of, you know, they take you on nice dates or they buy you nice things. They just might not be at the beginning of this in a place where they can show up as emotionally prepared as you are, but they do show up with their appreciation, like I said, with this Queen of Pentacles. Now let's get an archetype card for your energy. We have Liberator. I like this because this is what I said, like the fact that she has this light, like you are a torch for this person, like you create this light at the end of a tunnel, but that is really difficult to live up to. So I just want you to keep that in mind, that this person you cannot on your own save a person from grief or depression. Like it becomes really, really codependent really quick. So there needs to be some balance in that. However, that's just me being cautious. In general, I think this is a really beautiful like connection where I think you're really helping this person. Freeing yourself and others from outmoded beliefs, releasing negative thought patterns. And now for them, one archetype card. Ooh, I went flying. I wanted one. I'm going to do that again because that was 2. And I really want 1. I want to get clear on 1. I'm going to reshuffle to see. For this person, give me 1 card for this person. There we go. We have hero, heroine. We have passion for a journey of personal empowerment. The shadow attribute is escapism and a false sense of heroism. The escapism, I think, is really important that we keep that in mind, okay? Because like I said, this is a very thin line that you guys are walking. Also, on your side, the shadow attribute is imposing your own tyranny over those you claim to liberate, ignoring legitimate constraints. So this is the shadow attributes. Because this is such a thin line, the shadow attributes would be, if this becomes completely out of balance, you would be like very controlling over their journey towards becoming liberated from their pain or grief. And they would kind of just use you as a mode of escape. If we keep this in a healthy balance, you help inspire them to get out of that darkness, and they help themselves get out of that darkness through your inspiration, but they do the work themselves. They don't rely on you to do it for them, right? A passion for a journey of personal empowerment. And I really like that we have the two people here on both sides of the mountain, because it's kind of like a coming together of like, look, come on, I'm willing to do that, which we have with the Six of Cups as well. It's very much like, look, if I do this, you can do that. Like, it's just very sweet and very encouraging. I really like that. I also want to give you a close-up of the Six of Cups, actually, because look at how sweet this imagery is. These cards are absolutely beautiful to begin with, but you can see she has her hand on his lower back, and it's just very much, it just feels like a very encouraging energy of like, hey, I'm here to listen to you, and whenever you're ready, when this courage card comes up, right, whenever you're ready, we can move on to the next step. But it takes a lot of patience and balance in this connection. Let's get an oracle card. Connection. We have fruition, and that's to me, that's connecting to this Chariot card. It's like, in order for something to come to fruition, it takes a lot of patience and it takes a lot of time. It takes a seed growing and growing to a point where it actually can bear, the plant can actually bear fruit, and it takes a lot of water, which is what you provide. You provide a lot of emotional input. So it takes a lot of water, and it takes sun, attention, it takes good weather, you know, it takes a lot of things for a plant to actually bear fruit. And that's something that we need to keep in mind, that it's not just going to happen overnight. Let's get one from this deck. For group 2 in this connection. Oops, that went flying. And we have 10. Oh my goodness. This is so sweet. This is such a sweet energy, because I know that you're very nurturing. You're very nurturing. And I think, again, it's very sweet and it's very admirable that you are so nurturing towards this person and tending to that plant that you want to bear fruit, right? But again, make sure that you are also tending to yourself, and that they are also stepping up to tending to you, because you are not just someone's gardener, okay? You are also someone that deserves to be taken care of as well. So just know that that is a very, very necessary balance to uphold, but I think that this is a very sweet energy and a very sweet connection, and I think you have a lot of patience, and that really kind of encourages this person to open up eventually. This is going to be one last oracle card for group 2, and I read this one from the booklet. Oh my goodness, this is such a sweet connection. You are very kind, and you're very sweet, and I just want to make sure that you get what you deserve. I know that you're very compassionate towards this person, but I also just want to make sure that you are aware of, you know, you can only give so much, but this is very sweet. Let me read this to you. This is titled Night Ride. Look at them. Protector, wonder in the night, big brother, friendship. An elephant transports 2 owls on his back, a mother with her young bird child. Protectively, she has folded her wing over the young owl's head. The elephant rides through the night, blowing stars up into the sky through his trunk. Connected with magic and wonder, the elephant is a protector, a strong shoulder to lean on in all times. Even during dark times, you can feel safe and secure beside him. This is really lovely, and it actually gave me goosebumps. I think best case scenario is that you are the one providing a guiding light, an inspiration to this person, and when they manage to come out of this depth, they are able to give you the same right back. That is the best case scenario that I'm picking up on. I just want you to be aware of the necessity of maintaining balance, and that's why I keep going back to that. It's just very important that we're very honest with ourselves and with the people that we're in connection with. But I do feel like for most people here, this person is going to be able to balance this out and in showing up for you in the same way as you are actually willing to show up for them. So right now, again, you might be in a state of confusion. If that's where you're at, this is kind of like a guide of, take care of yourself and be patient, and enjoy what you have while you have it and see where it goes. Don't put too much pressure on yourself or this other person, and just see how things unfold. And I think they will take a turn for the better. Okay, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you so much for hanging out. If you would like to book a personal reading, you can do so only on my website. I will never solicit readings via DMs, just a reminder. I do hope I get to read for you again sometime. Until then, take care. Hi Group 3, this is your reading if you chose the Silver Quarter from 1964. We're going to set this right up here, and we're going to get right into it. So I'm going to start off this reading with a tarot spread that's going to be a triangle. This will be your energy here, the other person in this connection over here, and then the energies, how they come together and play out, will go downwards in the triangle. After that, we will pull an archetype card for each of you, and then we will close out with some oracle cards. So for Group 3 in this connection, let's talk about their energy. We have the Temperance card. And we have the Moon, trying to bring some emotional balance, possibly just to yourself, not necessarily the connection, but we'll see. We have the Seven of Wands. Come on. This was 2, so I'm gonna shuffle. I want to do one at a time. This deck is very lovely and very exciting in its energy, but the cards often kind of, it's very smooth, so the cards kind of stick together sometimes. Okay, there we go. The Five of Wands. And the other person in this energy. We have the Chariot. Can we make it fit? That feels like almost part of the message. Can we make it fit? Can we make this work? From your end, I'm getting a lot of kind of this vibe of really trying to make things balanced on both sides. And then in the middle, because these are kind of your energies and then this is their energies and this is how it shows up together. And so in the middle, I'm picking up on it being difficult. Like even the fact that he has his feet on 2 pieces of land and in the middle is a little river. Like trying to bring 2 very separate things together. The Seven of Wands is about overcoming obstacles and really kind of like getting a little bit exhausted by them. Not just a little bit, I don't know why I said that. Getting exhausted by them, but in this deck, I always feel like, because this is a Peter Pan imagery, I always feel like that there's more kind of hopeful energy within the Seven of Wands than in other decks. But then on this person's side, we have the Chariot and the Five of Wands. I don't know that they're willing to put in as much effort as you are, because I think you're really trying to balance things out. You might even be tempering your emotions to keep the peace in some regard, like holding back on saying certain things. And this person is very, like, I'm getting a very kind of like victimized vibe from them, like just being like, ugh, just very defeated. And with this Chariot, I think they're really like, I'm just gonna do what I want. With this Five of Wands, the Five of Wands represents conflict, and in this deck, to me, it just always feels kind of like internal conflict a lot more than in others. I don't know. I think you're really focused on bringing balance to your emotional state to temper how you react to things. And I think they probably don't share their thoughts a lot. I think you maybe have a history of sharing more and wanting them to share more, and I think they're holding back. And I think they're holding back a lot of them just like, I feel like they just don't want to deal with something. There's something they don't want to deal with. Let's keep pulling some more cards. No, one at a time, please. Okay, I will take it. Ace of Wands. I don't know if you saw it, but it came out like, it flipped over twice, so. So we have the Ace of Wands and we have the Knight of Wands. I think your attitude is very much like, we can do it, we can figure it out, like, let's do this. But also, you're very much like, I figured it out. Like, I don't know, there's like an aspect here where you're like, wait, I figured myself, like, I figured out how to manage this. But I think you need to keep in mind that it takes two. It always takes two. We have Fortitude, which is the Strength card. They're holding something back. They're definitely holding something back. And we have the Three of Wands. I think they are holding back in a sense that they really are looking to expand elsewise. And again, this doesn't have to be a romantic connection. This can be friendship or family or business related. And I think they really are, I see you wanting to fix, and I see them wanting to expand, but not necessarily with you. They feel kind of trapped. Don't let them, oh, I'm getting a vibe, but don't let them, even though we have the Chariot card, they are holding back. Don't let their inability to voice what they actually want turn you into the person that creates what they want for them. Meaning, if they actually, whatever kind of connection this is, right? If they actually want more freedom, if they actually want more space, they need to be able to voice that. So don't let them subconsciously push you in a corner where they kind of like deprive you from emotions, where you then are like trying to come up with things that makes you act out your emotions in a way where you then push them away. I hope that that makes sense, because a lot of people do that when they're too afraid to like make decisions for themselves. They will push another person to act out what they don't have the balls, metaphorically, to do. And with this Strength card, I'm not picking that up as the regular like card of like, oh, I can manage this. Along with the Seven of Wands and this Five of Wands, it just feels like them really holding back, especially with this hand placement, holding back what they actually want. And that's really annoying, because it's like you're not helping anyone by doing that. Anyways, we have the World card come out, and then we have the Death card in the middle of the spread. Let's get one more. And then we have the Six of Wands. It's funny because I'm sitting here and I literally have the same position as these guys in the World card, because I have my hand to my chin because I'm trying to like figure this out. And I think that's how you'll be feeling, because you're like very motivated to figure it out, but there's something where it's like you can't figure it out because there's something on their side that they're holding back. And so it's impossible for you to figure it out. And so with this, oh, I'm sorry, it's the Wheel of Fortune. I don't know if I called it the World card, but I was very aware that it's the Wheel of Fortune. But with this Wheel of Fortune, it does indicate to me that there is a time, that there is a shift coming, and there's a time where I think your perspective is going to change on this situation. And then we have the Six of Wands on their end, which is also interesting because it also feels like a change in perspective on their end. I don't know if they will get to a point where they're finally like willing to address, because the Six of Wands is it's a good card to have, but it is about like making something work, about achieving something. And then in the middle of this spread, we have the Death card. This is very much it. The cards that come out next are really going to tell us if this is a make or break situation, because this could really go either direction, because your perspective is changing, and it seems, it seems like their perspective is changing. Let's see what comes out next. We have the Lovers. We have the Knight of Wands, and let me get the last card out. And we have the Judgment card. This is very interesting because I'm getting a similar vibe to another. There was a very similar vibe in another group, but less extreme, I would say. No, it was more, it's less extreme in this reading, is what I'm trying to say. We have the Page of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck. This is leading to the Judgment card, meaning this is leading to making a decision, making a call. I think that even though there's a lot of hesitation and a lot of holding back on their end, I do feel like they're able to kind of redirect their energy. They're able to redirect their energy where they can kind of like refocus. And I'm hearing redirect, refocus. This Death card is giving a lot of rebirth. And that's what I was saying. It's a very make or break situation, because this row right here was like, it's either this is the point, and you might get to that point within this connection where you reach a point where it's like you are very much like, you know what? I'm willing to show up and I'm willing to leave. You tell me what it's going to be. And them being faced with that and realizing like, okay, I want to make this work. and you feeling really kind of exhilarated and feeling really kind of emotional resonance with the fact that they're willing to commit to that, which brings them to the Knight of Wands. The only thing is that I'm not seeing a lot of cups. Which, even if this is platonic, I would still like some cups on their end. We have so many wands. This deck in general is always very strong with the wands. This deck very much heavily favors wands, I feel like, energetically for me. But still, this is like a lot of wands, and so that really kind of determines for me that what's important to them is their willpower. That's very important. Their freedom and their willpower is very important to them. And they're the kind of person that is like, you know what, once I make up my mind, I'm gonna do my best to stick to that. And so their willpower is really going to drive this to the point of being like, okay, so what's going on? And I think what's going on in the end is going to be this Page of Coins, where the both of you are really going to take a look at, is this worth it? And so that's, I think, where this kind of, the storyline ends, because I do feel like this storyline is going to have different outcomes for a lot of different people. Because I feel like this storyline is less romantic in essence than the other one that I saw, that also had the Judgment at the bottom of the deck, or at the bottom of the triangle, and it was kind of like a similar vibe. This one feels like it could be more platonic. It could be more of like business related, or like I said, platonic if it's friendship. And if you feel like you've kind of, it just feels like you felt it was on your shoulders to kind of manage your emotions, because this person was like either easily irritated or just kind of not very patient when it comes to emotions in general. Honestly, I'm getting like Sagittarius vibes from them. Just very kind of like, I mean, obviously we have a lot of wands, but still, I think you had this idea of like, I can temper my emotions and I can make this work. And you showing up in that way, I think does, I think you kind of match their energy. And it does kind of show them like, okay, like maybe this can work. But then, are you just masking your energy to make it work? Or does it actually work? And that is in regards of a job, a friendship, or a romantic connection. Are you just masking so that you can fit into what makes them comfortable? Because I don't like that. If your emotions are challenging them and making them uncomfortable, then that's probably happening for a reason. But you tempering your emotions, or your emotional expression, just to kind of solidify a connection, and then in turn, when your emotional needs come to the surface again, then what happens, right? So that's why we end up at the Judgment, because it's still going to come down to, is this right for you? Is this connection, this friendship, whatever it is this right for you? Are your emotional needs being met? Because if they're not being met, then what's the point? You're not just here to make other people feel good. Ooh. Yep, we have the 8th house, we have the South Node, and we have Virgo energy. The 8th house is about power and control. It is also about other people's money, and it is also about sex. And the wands often represent that kind of physical, passionate expression of energy. So we have a lot of wands here, so apply that if it fits, right? But it doesn't have to be about that. It can just also be about control and kind of struggles around control. And so that's why I'm saying, like, I don't want you to suppress your needs just to fit into something, because then that is a passive way of them controlling you. And we have the South Node energy and we have Virgo. South Node energy speaks about energy that needs to be released, things that we need to let go of. Virgo is a very analytical energy. Virgo is very much like, I don't know why this came to mind, but it's very much the vibe of Excel sheets, you know, taking down all the data and being like, okay, what do we have? What do we need? Is this meeting our requirements? It's very interesting because I feel like this is a very kind of open energy. Like, I feel like this is a very kind of catch-all energy, because it just feels to me that in the end, a lot of the other readings that I've done so far, I feel like it was pretty clear where this was headed. And this, I don't think it's clear at all. I think it's really, really going to depend on what you want. Especially with this Lover's card. The Lover's card is about choices. Making a choice that is in alignment with your needs and choosing what fulfills you. I'm just trying to see if there's anything else that I'm picking up on. Let's move on to the archetype cards. So we're going to pull one for you and one for the other person. Let's get one for group 3 for their energy. Oh. We have engineer. The ability to give creative energy a practical expression, talent for designing resolutions to common dilemmas. And this is what you are trying to figure it out, right? I said that. You're like, okay, well, if I tweak this, especially with the temperance card and engineer, it's like, if I tweak this, what happens then? Okay, you're almost like trying to figure this person out. But by figuring them out, I think we're losing sight with this 8th house energy. We're losing sight of who's in control, because you're thinking, I'm going to figure this person out because I want them, kind of thing, or whether that's your job or whether that's a friend, you know, romantic. It doesn't have to be any of those. It can be whatever it is, right? You feeling like I have to figure them out is still you doing all the emotional labor. And then meanwhile, they're sitting easy while they don't have to figure anything out. Let me tell you, the shadow attribute is reliance on mechanistic solutions without regard for emotional consequences. Okay, now on their side, let's get an archetype card for the other person in this. We have Messiah. Ooh, I don't like this. Sorry, but I don't. I want to focus on the shadow attribute here, because the light attribute I just feel like doesn't apply for this situation, because it says serving humanity with humility. That's fine and dandy, but with this vibe that I'm picking up on them really kind of holding back, that doesn't apply. So the shadow attribute is exaggerated belief that you are the only means through which a cause can succeed. That I think applies, because in the meantime, okay, things are making sense now. Going back to control, to power and control. You think if you can figure them out emotionally, then you can get what you want out of the situation. And they think they can get what they want out of every situation, which is why they hold back, which is why they're also just in inner conflict with themselves, because they're a little bit manipulative, and not saying it lightly. I don't know, they might be doing that subconsciously. It's fine, it's whatever. But I think we have two Please don't take offense to this, but I do think we have two manipulative people coming together here. And there are different levels to manipulation. There's subconscious manipulation, and meaning someone subconsciously, you being subconsciously manipulated, or someone just subconsciously manipulating across the board. I hope that makes sense. What I'm trying to say is that sometimes we all manipulate people. We all use our emotions, our facial expressions, the things that we know about people. To some degree, we use them against people or for our own cause. At a certain point, it becomes toxic. At a certain point, it becomes unhealthy. But a lot of people, especially a lot of people that are very observant, do this very naturally, not with any ill will. It just kind of, you become observant, you figure out how to navigate people. And by navigating, you also slightly manipulate them, okay? So I don't want to say like both of you are manipulative in a toxic way. I don't think that that's necessarily the case. I think that you have met your match here, and I don't mean that you have met your soulmate or you have met your match in terms of, oh, this is such a good match. I think you have met your match in powers of manipulation. But I think that you typically don't necessarily use your manipulation powers against another person. And that's why the Seven of Wands is here, because there's there's definitely just like two energies that are like, okay, this is what I'm seeing. Instead of you guys coming together, again, no matter what, sorry, I'm having trouble with words during this reading. No matter if it's platonic or romantic, this energy, what we want to see is this coming together, creating something new. But what I'm seeing is you guys being like, here, you come here. And you're like, no, you come here, right? So your energies are like, you bend to my will. No, you bend to my will. A lot of willpower on the table right now. And that's where we're clashing at this row with the Death card. They want to win. You are trying to figure out like how to turn the wheel in your favor. Ultimately, I do see that for them, it's more of like a pride thing. And for you, it's more of like an emotional feedback thing. And this Judgment card almost feels like in a boxing match, the bell going off, like ding ding ding, next round. And that's where I feel like it really is going to depend on what do you want from this situation, on how this is going to unfold. And that's where we get this Page of Coins. It's like, is it worth it? Is it worth the energy? Because what I'm seeing here is a struggle of willpowers. And I think you do it a little bit more emotionally, the manipulation, the engineering, like I'm going to figure them out. I'm going to figure out what do they want. And then I kind of show up as that. And they just kind of like blatantly probably, honestly, I feel like they're probably attractive. I think they just kind of get things handed to them and they're just kind of used to that. So then they show up with that expectation. Interesting. I don't know that I like this combo. I'm gonna pull some oracle cards. Oh my goodness. Fell behind with this reading because I really needed a couple extra minutes to figure this out. For group 3, we have pleasure. Okay, so I feel like the advance. I said advance because I was gonna say advice and then I read balance, I think. Balance is at the bottom of the deck. I think the advice, but it's interesting because the advance. Anyways, I think the advice from Spirit for you is to have fun with this and to leave once it stops being fun. When that bell rings and you're like, oh no, I'm too far in it, this is not fun. Because you know what? That kind of competitive energy and that kind of back and forth, in the realm of physical pleasure, that can be very fun. That can be very fun. But engineering and this person thinking that they're God's gift to everyone, I just feel like you're not going to get them to bend to your will, and they're not going to get you to bend to their will. So, eighth house, physical pleasure, have fun with it, but you're definitely, both of you with that Virgo energy, I think you're both definitely playing kind of some mind games here, whether it's actively or subconsciously. With the South Node, this is possibly a lesson. Like I said, you've met your match in terms of you've met someone that is like playing the game the way you play the game. Okay, and so you've met your match, and that might be a reason for the both of you to recognize things, and that you can then kind of have this struggle to like each go their own way, and then recognize like, okay, maybe I need to be more aware of when I do that to people, because now I experience what it's like when someone else does that to me. Whew. Let's pull some more oracle cards. Definitely a lot of physical pleasure here. And let me tell you, if this is not a romantic connection, if this is a work connection, this is all about competition, right? And you kind of, you guys get each other fired up. If this is a friendship, that competition is still there. That kind of like, if this is a friendship, this is the kind of friend where you kind of like, you're like, yeah, that's my friend, but also you don't fully trust them, or you know, there's just some undercurrents of jealousy or some undercurrents of competition that shouldn't necessarily be present in a real friendship. And we have Rise Up, and this card wants out as well, so I will take it. Camouflage, yeah, look at this. I like how this, like, all the colors really kind of fit in with this reading. But camouflage is telling me that this is you really kind of tempering your energy. You camouflage to fit in, to observe this person so you can snatch up their weaknesses. But I think they are the kind that like really stands out. So there's that contrast between the two of you. But it really has a lot to do with trying to fit in and trying to manipulate. I'm telling you. Again, also they're holding back with that camouflage energy. And then we have Rise Up. Look at this yellow, picking up all the yellow from all the wands. I think this is really kind of, this connection is meant to help the both of you kind of release, because of that South Node energy, release some of those toxic habits that you probably subconsciously do a lot. Okay. I think we got it. I think it's pretty clear. You, I think, are, I think you are in some capacity emotionally manipulating either yourself or them. They are holding back a lot, but there is a lot of like tension. A lot of tension between the two. It's going to come to a make or break kind of situation with that row with the Death card and the Wheel of Fortune. And I think the way this actually pans out in the end is really going to have a lot to do with what you actually want and whether you feel like you can get that out of this connection, whether that is with on a friendship level or on a romantic level. When it comes to romance, I don't see a lot of emotions here. I see a lot of physical pleasure here, a lot of fun. So if that should be the case, again, this person kind of feels like they're God's gift to the world. You think that you're smarter than them and you can figure, like, kind of have your fun with them. They also think that they can kind of have their fun with you, I think. So I think you really kind of have met your equals, and that is meant to teach you both something. So that's really interesting. I would love to hear how this resonates for you. It doesn't have to be very serious, right? This can be also kind of like a fun kind of workplace workplace bickering, you know, like it doesn't have to be that serious, but I think you definitely have met your match in some capacity in terms of like somebody's really like playing the game differently than you do, but with just as good of a punch, if that makes sense. So this last card I'm going to read from the booklet. For group 3, one last oracle card. Elixir of life. Again, talking about physical pleasure. Absolutely. Let's read it from the booklet though. 15. It says healing, consolidation, reinvigoration, and truth. A woman is leaning towards a deep red rose. She faces the flower with her eyes closed, concentrating on the lush bloom. She is receiving the sweet scent of nature and the energy of life. The wind rustles her hair, whispering the truths of the universe into her ears. She can hear her own breath mingling with the wind. Sitting quietly in nature by a stream or in a garden can help still our wandering mind and heal a troubled heart. That was a little out there, but you know what I'm picking up from that is that both of you are very passionate people, and both of you are very much focused on pursuing your passions. And I think there's beauty in that, but I think both of you need to recognize boundaries and where your pursuit of passion inflicts, I don't want to say pain or wounds, but it inflicts an impact on other people's boundaries. I hope that that makes sense. Because it is very much about this, like, the fact that she's sitting there, right? And that message was all about kind of toning it down, but you can enjoy passion without aggression is kind of what I'm getting out of this. Because this is very, right, that. And this is like reminding us, like, we can experience passion through this. It doesn't have to be either or. All right, I hope that that makes sense. And I do hope that this resonated. I would love to know in the comments. Just a reminder, if you'd like to book a personal reading, you can do so only through my website. I do not solicit readings through DMs, so don't get scammed. And I do hope I get to read for you again sometime. Until then, take care. Hi group 4, this is your reading if you chose the $50 with Kennedy on it from 1969. At least I think that's Kennedy. Let's get into your reading. So we're taking an honest look at the connection on your mind. And the way we're doing that is we're going to pull some tarot cards in a triangle spread. This is going to be your energy corner, this is going to be their energy corner, and this is how you come together, right? How your energies merge. Then we're going to pull an archetype card for each side, and then we'll close it out with some oracle cards. So for group 4, let's get into it. Let's start off with your energy. Ooh, we have the 3 of Wands. Getting ready to expand. Oh, we have the Magician. You are ready to make something happen. The energy in the middle. We have Judgment. Interesting. Judgment has come out in almost every reading. We are at make or break situations. Things are coming to a head. But the other readings has come out at the bottom. So interesting that this is at the top row, which indicates that both of you are kind of like, hey, what are we doing here? What's going on? Whether this is, I want to remind you, this doesn't have to be romantic. This can be platonic or a business connection as well. And we have the 4 of Cups after the Sun card. I'm sorry, I'm being so particular with the cards. It just drives me nuts when they don't fit. Just tiny, tiny bit. And now I think we're all crooked up here. It's okay. It's fine. All right. So on your energy, we have the Three of Wands and the Magician. And then on their end, we have the Four of Cups and the Sun. Very interesting because this is a stark difference, because the Four of Cups is very apathetic and the Sun card is very much like, I'm here, I'm ready to show up, I'm like, see me shine, hear me roar. The Judgment card in the middle. Interesting. Actually, now that I'm looking at it as a whole, the Four of Cups is kind of apathetic. The Three of Wands is kind of like looking out into the distance. So I wonder if both of you were kind of like done with this situation or this connection, being kind of like, I don't want to deal with it, and trying to like look elsewhere for distraction, wanting to focus on more positives, wanting to, like, I feel like almost you both kind of wanted to just focus on yourselves. And then in the middle, we have the Judgment, because that almost feels like, well, if we both want to focus on ourselves, what does that mean for this connection? Are we friends? Are we business partners? Are we in a like romantic connection? What is going on? Let's keep going. We have the Death card. Oh. That's fine. I will take it. We have the Ace of Cups. We have the World. Let's get one more for this row. And we have the Ace of Wands. Okay. So as the both of you are like, what? So then if both of us are like looking in different directions, then what does that mean for us? That's in the middle. With the Sun card, it's like this person is like really kind of focused on what they want. And with the Magician, you also are very much focused on what can I make happen? What can I do? How can I show up? Not necessarily in this connection, but just in general, right? What am I capable of? This is very interesting because with this Death card and the Ace of Cups, I do feel like there is a potential for regeneration, but there's also a potential for you to be like, I'm gonna let the dead fall off and I'm going to focus on me. And I feel like that's also a potential on this side because we have the Ace of Wands with the World card. I'm going to let this cycle close and I'm going to focus on what I want. I feel like you're both kind of like letting things fall where they fall, but I'm going to keep going, see where this heads. We have the Fool. Yeah, I feel like you are really wanting to head in a new direction. And we have the Tower. Actually, this is the first time the Tower comes out in today's pick a card. I also want to point out that these cards that have been coming out so far are very muted in their colors. I can't tell if this is supposed to come out or not. I will take it. What wand? 5 of Wands. I'm going to keep going to give some more context. Okay, one last card. I'm picking up a story, and it's kind of sad. It's kind of heartbreaking, honestly, because I don't think that either one of you specifically is trying to hurt the other. I don't think that either one of you is specifically like, I can't deal with this anymore. I think it's really just a falling apart. Letting things fall. And what I'm picking up on here specifically, again, you have to know how this fits into your life, but I could see this easily being the falling apart of a friendship where you guys are just growing in different directions, and it's really not about each other. It's really not a personal choice. It's just one person is growing in this direction and the other person is growing in another direction. And I feel like there comes a moment where both of you, in some capacity, recognize that something has reached a point of no return. And then from there on, it just kind of, once that realization sets in, that's when emotions are like, ouch. Whereas before it was very much just like an exploring energy. It was just kind of like, oh, we'll just see, like, yeah, see you later. Okay, bye. And then you have this moment of, specifically with the tower, either something happens and the other person doesn't show up, or something happens and one person doesn't feel supported. Like something in a very specific way happens where a choice, and I think it might be on your end, a choice that you make leaves the other person feeling like they're fending for themselves, and it changes how they view the connection, and they just kind of like pull back, and that leaves you wondering what happened, and it leaves you confused. And then in the end, both of you are sad because I think both of you just kind of pulled back. And yet at the end, at the bottom of the deck here, we have the Lovers card, which indicates to me that there was love here. There was alignment here at some point in time. It's just that alignment is not there anymore. Yeah, see, the Five of Wands is underneath that. Like now it's there's conflict instead of coming together. And same holds true for this being a romantic situation. You know, it holds just the same weight as if it was a friendship, because I feel like it's really just kind of both of you being very independent. There might have been some distance. There was still this, with this Ace of Cups and the Ace of Wands, there in this row, I feel like there was this establishment of like, hey, I'm doing my thing over here, you're doing your thing over there, and it's fine. Things are changing, but we're okay, right? Like, I love you, I care about you, like, we're fine, right? Yes. And then the distance became so normal that I can feel it in my heart. It's really making me sad. With this Tower card, I feel like the distance became so normal that then one person here felt like the distance was too much to overcome, and they couldn't reach out when they actually needed you, or you couldn't reach out. I think it was on their end because of the Seven of Wands. Like the distance became so normalized that it became too much to overcome. And because of that, they felt like they had to really face a lot of things on their own. And in doing so, they probably figured out like how to do things on their own, which is really important. But it also ended up dissolving some of the bonds that were here. I do feel like there is definitely, there might be some physical distance. Again, if this is a friendship, you may have moved away from where you grew up. This could be a childhood friend. You may have moved away for a job, And, you know, life changed you and life changed them. And it just changed you. And it changed how you were able to show up for one another. And your immediate surroundings were guiding you in a different direction. And their immediate surroundings were challenging them. You were guided in a new direction, and they were challenged in a direction where they really had to face a lot of things. And I think you faced a lot of overwhelming energy as well, but I think for you it played out more. I think for you this journey has played out more overwhelming in good ways. This magician energy kind of trickled down into the Seven of Cups with you having options, with you taking chances and having options. And for them, on their end, the sun energy, which was very much them being focused on what they wanted, really kind of trickled down into this hanged man energy, which is really like them learning a lot about themselves. I think you both have been learning a lot of very, very important lessons, but I think they may have had a little bit of a rougher term learning these lessons. That doesn't mean that it was necessarily or is necessarily easy for you, but I feel like you are a little bit more aligned. But ultimately we have this Five of Cups because it is really sad, because along the way you lost someone, and it's really sad. It's really sad because you loved them. And this is making me really sad. The energy is very sad. And it's interesting because the cards themselves are not necessarily all that sad. Of course, we have the Five of Cups, but there's a lot of very powerful energy here, a lot of very positive energy here, but it's very sad. And I think it speaks to the connections that we make in life that are beautiful, but just can't last because we have more life to live and we cannot stay in one place. Whew, this one's very heavy. Let's get some dice. We have the sixth house, we have the moon, and we have Virgo. Virgo actually naturally rules the sixth house, and Virgo and the moon, Virgo moon energy is, oof, that's rough. It's very analytical. It's very overanalyzing our emotions and our emotional responses. The sixth house is our daily routines. So this might be something, especially with this Five of Cups, this might be a person that, you know, despite the distance, you may have at some point in time been very close in touch with this person, and you guys used to really rely on each other a lot for kind of emotional digestion, you know, emotional, like just working through emotional processing. So you might have been in constant communication with this person in the past, and at some point with this hanged man energy, they I think weren't able to kind of uphold that kind of connection anymore. I think they were definitely fighting some battles on their own, and you were kind of establishing a life for yourself. And if there was no direct distance in this connection, then this is all emotional distance, right? With this Judgment card running into the Death in the World card, this may indicate that at some point you guys decided, okay, we're taking a break. Whether that is, again, from your friendship or from a romantic situation. The sixth house also rules our job, though. So if this is a work situation, then it would really kind of have to do with your employer not not really showing up the way they used to, and you kind of moving on in a different direction, which that in that case it would be nice. But I think for most of you this is definitely going to be in regards to a friendship or a romantic connection, because there's a lot of emotions involved here. Wow, this one was very straightforward. Very straightforward and very emotional. Let's pull some archetype cards. So I'm going to pull one for you and one for the other person. I really don't feel any particular ill will on either side here. This really feels kind of like a mutual falling apart, which is very sad, because in that case it's like life. It's just life. But let's see what the archetype cards have to say for your energy. Okay, don't be I don't even know. Can I show this? I'm pretty sure I can show this. Don't be triggered by the word, because it's an archetype. So this doesn't necessarily mean what we think it means, okay? I'll get to it in a second, but let me get a card for the other person. We have Gambler. I do feel like this fits. Look at the colors too. Even the colors here. Okay, I do feel like this fits because, so this card, the light attribute, it says accentuates the challenge of surviving without negotiating the power of your spirit. And then on this side, we have willingness to follow intuition even when others doubt you. And the shadow attribute is relying on luck rather than hard work. However, I feel like it's more about the title, Gambler. And then, like I said, the title here of prostitute, the prostitute is a very, very established archetype, okay? Yes, in a negative sense, the way society labels it, and I want to be clear, that is a patriarchal society that for millennia has benefit off of sex work, but still has the audacity to judge it. That is a label that society has for it, right? The first thing that comes up when we think of that word, and when we don't want to be labeled as that, right? But let's think about this light attribute. Accentuates the challenge of surviving without negotiating the power of your spirit. Being able, especially with this magician energy, being able to set your terms of, this is what I want for my life and this is how I'm going to achieve it. And I can do that without giving away the power of my spirit, even if I give away power to something else in my life, okay? This just shows strong willpower. The shadow attribute, I will share that with you as well. It says places material considerations and security above self-empowerment, meaning feeling like you have to do something, placing that above self-empowerment. So that is the idea. There's this idea here that you can be a sex worker and be self-empowered, right? But the idea of like, no, I can't do both. That's, for me, is what the shadow attribute is. And the idea of like, oh, I have to do this because otherwise, like, I don't have any other means of, you are figuring your life out and your self-empowerment. That's really what this comes down to. I don't want to over-explain, but I do know that some people are going to take that the wrong way. But this for you is really about you being focused on, how can I show up in the world feeling empowered and gaining material resources from that empowerment, okay? So on their side, we have Gambler, willingness to follow their intuition. And this is why I do feel like this had a lot to do with both of you just kind of naturally falling out growing in different directions because you were following your need for empowerment, and you probably had some kind of dependency on each other, especially with that sixth house energy and with that moon energy. There was probably some kind of emotional dependency here at some point. But for them to have gambler here, I think they gambled this connection because there was this moment where they were like, I'm just going to let them live their life and I'm going to figure mine out on my own, because clearly they're very empowered. They know what they're doing. And I don't quite know what I'm doing, but I'm going to figure it out on my own. They didn't share, where you were probably very open in sharing, like, oh my God, this happened and this happened and this happened. But that just kind of showed them the movement you've created. The distance became larger because of that. And so then they were just kind of dealing with stuff on their own, away from your insight and knowledge. And so it really kind of, they kind of internalized this and they gambled away this relationship. But at the same time, it was a natural falling out, okay? I hope that makes sense. But also, again, so many lessons here. Relying on luck rather than hard work. And that's not to say that they're not a hard worker, but there is definitely something where they had to kind of be, they had to be put through a ringer to see things from a different perspective. And at the point where they, because I don't know at what stage you are in this storyline, but if that's still ahead of you guys, if you're still in the stage of kind of like, okay, things are like slowly falling apart, then they will reach a point where they are gaining a lot of wisdom and knowledge from figuring things out without you. And you are actually going to be facing a lot of offers and a lot of, just a lot of opportunities. The Seven of Cups is overwhelm, but in this deck specifically, it just feels like a lot of options, right? I think you're going to be facing a lot of opportunity because you kind of detached and followed your own path instead of keeping that codependent, possibly codependent energy in staying attached to them. But still, emotionally, both of you feel like you've lost something. Even if in the process they have gained wisdom and insight into how to navigate life and you have gained empowerment, both of you definitely feel like you've lost something along the way, which you have. You have lost a very close friend, if not lover. And again, like both of you, I think, still hold admiration for one another, but things are just different. They're just different than what they used to be. Let's pull some oracle cards. For group 4. Oh, that was fast. So we have 23, which reduces down to a 5, which is about change. Things are just different. And we have gratitude. So, and we have the unexpected at the bottom of the deck. And I like that there's these two figures. I really do feel like for a lot of you, this is about a friendship. But Spirit is reminding us to be grateful for the companionship or the connection when we had it, when it was fulfilling, to be grateful that we had that. And to be grateful that we both are still growing. Like, even though we're growing apart from each other, and even though there is this distance, you never know. The unexpected was at the bottom of the deck. You never know. You might come together, back together at some point in time down the line and be completely self-evolved people that can come together in a very different way. So try to, when you think about this connection, try to think back in gratitude. I'm hearing Oasis, don't look back in anger. Even if it is sad. I know it's very sad. I can feel it. But we need to be grateful for the love that we had when we had it. Oh my goodness. And protected. We have protected. Oh, look at it. Even this eagle looks sad. What the heck? We have protected. I want to get one more of these. But that is just telling me that this, look at the hands. Oh my goodness. Look at the synchronicity of the hands. That's why I feel like there's not really ill will between the two of you. Even if there is no contact, even if things ended rough, I really think both of you hold each other in high regard, really deep in your hearts, and you protect that image that you have of one another, of like when things were good, they were really beautiful. We have the veil. The veil, this connection, this one fell to the ground, so I'll take it too. This connection really taught both of you a lot about who you are. And it was an emotional one. Again, I really feel like this is about a friendship, but you know best. Even if it's romantic, it's still like the friendship, I think, was at the forefront. This really taught you guys a lot about who you are in regards to one another, and you really kind of found your shadow. Oh my god, that's probably like, there's a song that's coming to mind, Raleigh Ritchie, Shadow, and he sings, "You don't have control of me, 'cause you're a shadow of who I used to be. You're a shadow." And there's more in that song that's really profound. But in that song, he's basically, I think he's kind of singing to himself. I think it's very open for interpretation, but it does feel like kind of like a friend breakup song of just like this person was a direct connection to someone that you used to be, but you're not that person anymore, and they're not that person anymore. And so it taught you a lot about who you are, and that it was beautiful for that reason, is what I'm picking up. Okay, I'm going to pull one last oracle card, and we're going to use this one to close it out. I'm going to read this one from the booklet. So for group 4, one last oracle card for group 4. Oh, that was so fast. Okay, we will take it. Moon Dance. We had the moon at the bottom of that other oracle deck, and we have the moon here. Let's read it. Number 4. Daring, balance, easiness, adventure, perspective. Perspective, very important. And notice how this reading's got me in my feels. Notice how the colors of this card really match up with these colors, but also these, and also these. Oh, that's so sweet. It's like the melding of the two. Okay, daring, balance, easiness, adventure, and perspective. Look at this girl balancing on a rope, waltzing with the moon. She is dancing through life. To be this confident is a gift you should be aware of and treasure. Be brave and adventurous. Get out of your comfort zone and see life from a different perspective. If you maintain a balance between levity and lightheartedness, you can stay above the everyday noise that threatens to bring us down. Feel the night breeze in your hair and adventure in your soul. I think this is, to me, this is clearly saying, like, keep going the way you've been going, and you can keep the balance between levity and lightheartedness, meaning when you think back to this connection, or when you think about this connection in general, show gratitude for what it was and leave room for possibility in the future. But I think it's very important that you focus on continuing on the path that you're on, because you're on that path for a reason, and it was meant to empower you. And they are on their own path, and for you at this point in time, you need to focus on just your path. Okay, I'm gonna leave it there. I'm sending you a big hug because I know that this is very sad energy, but You got this, and I know that you will find energy that will take its place. It won't replace it, but it will take its place, and it will make you feel loved and seen and felt. Okay, just a reminder, if you would like to book a personal reading with me, you can do so via the link in the description, only on my website. I will never solicit readings via DMs, okay? So don't get scammed. I'm going to leave it there. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I do hope it resonates. Let me know in the comments, and I hope I get to read for you again sometime. Until then, take care.